Orlando sells magic, theme parks, attractions, curated wonder. But in 2024, something darker was being built behind the curtain. A place called Sloth World, a slotharium they called it, a handsome wildlife attraction promising serenity, innocence, and $49 tickets. But behind the marketing, a warehouse. No heat, no water, no climate control, and dozens of dead animals. Tonight, we walk you through the real story, the one Florida officials are now calling truly unacceptable. Welcome to the Mind War Podcast.
Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Mind War Podcast. Today's story is pretty disturbing. I'm not going to waste a whole lot of time with talking. Grandmaster, let's jump right into this disgustingness.
Okay, before Sloth World ever opened its doors, Florida's wildlife investigators had already uncovered a tragedy. According to the Florida Fish and Wildlife Commission's internal findings, the first inspection in December 2024 documented 31 dead sloths inside a warehouse on International Drive. We call it I Drive here in Florida.
Right.
A building with no electricity, no heat, and no running water. Investigators found the animals stored in plastic bins and undersized cages. Temperatures inside the warehouse had dropped below 50 degrees during a cold front, and without heat, the sloths suffered cold stun collapse, hypothermia, and organ failure. Reports also noted that the animals were being fed brown rice and Pedialyte, an improper diet that caused severe malnutrition, dehydration, and gastrointestinal shutdown. A follow-up inspection in February 2025 recorded 10 additional deaths, including 2 sloths that arrived already dead from transport. Several of the surviving animals were described as emaciated, dehydrated, and lethargic, with visible signs of stress and muscle wasting. By early 2026, when the state compiled its full investigative file, the confirmed death toll had risen to 52 sloths. This is where it gets weird, with 24 more unaccounted for.
Where?
Yeah, black market maybe?
Oh.
I don't know. I don't know. Just unaccounted for. State import records showed that 69 wild-caught sloths had been brought in from Guyana and Peru, despite Sloth World lacking a valid exhibitor permit.
Wow.
13 survivors, sloths, were eventually transferred to the Central Florida Zoo, where veterinarians documented long-term damage from starvation, cold exposure, and improper handling. Several of those rescues later died from complications tied directly to their time in the warehouse. Florida's official records now list Sloth World as officially closed as of April 2026. Its license has been revoked. Its owners under active investigation for animal neglect and permit violations. Should be a lot more than that. This is where our story begins, not with a grand opening, but with a mass grave hidden behind Orlando's tourist corridor.
This is so scary. Sloth World was marketed as a peaceful, immersive wildlife experience.
My daughter wanted to go there.
Wanted to spend the weekend there, get a cabin,
Yes.
a whole nine. A place where families could meet sloths up close, learn about their conservation, and escape into a rainforest fantasy. The company imported 69 sloths from Guyana and Peru between July of 24 and February of 25. They're wild-caught animals, many of them juveniles, taken from natural habitats and shipped thousands of miles to Orlando and put them in a warehouse. The promotional materials described as Slotharium, a climate-controlled exhibit with lush foliage, interactive encounters, and educational programming. But none of that even existed.
Incredible.
Behind the scenes, animals were being held in this temporary warehouse, not even a finished attraction.
It looked nice on the outside, though. Well, maybe that's not where they kept them.
Entrance. It's not.
Ah.
That was just the empty building that they were going to move them to.
Gotcha.
There were no public-facing enclosures, no veterinary facilities, no climate systems, no permit for exhibition. Sloth World was selling a dream, but the animals were living a nightmare.
You think?
I mean, it's just so sad.
I would say that it was the warehouse of death.
Yeah.
I mean, the first wave of death occurred again, like you said, in 2024 during a cold snap. But the wildlife investigators in Florida documented 21 sloths dead in a single month, all housed in a warehouse with no electricity. Once again, temperatures inside dropped into the 40s. Remember, these are rainforest animals.
Right. Tropical mammals.
Right. Sloths, tropical mammals with low metabolic rates, cannot survive prolonged cold exposure. And I remember back in that time, it was cold for quite a while.
Mm-hmm.
The animals collapse from cold stun. It's a condition where body temperatures drop so low that the sloths become immobile, unable to eat, drink, or climb onto branches or cling onto the branches. Several were found on the floor of their enclosures, unable to lift their heads.
Oh.
Now keep in mind, these are slow-moving creatures as it is. In February 2025, another 10 sloths died, including 2 that arrived dead again on transport. They performed a necropsy, is that right? Necropsy summary described severe dehydration, gastrointestinal failure, respiratory distress, muscle wasting, and stress-induced collapse. All of that from the cold and probably just the way they were being kept. Okay? Now, the investigators, this is kind of interesting, noted that the sloths were being fed, once again, the brown rice, a food with absolutely no traditional relevance to their natural diet of leaves, shoots, and specialized plant matter. Who wanted to give them brown rice? Thinking that, would they cook it on the outside? Out in the forest?
I guess.
Improper feeding caused malnutrition, obviously, diarrhea, electrolyte imbalance, accelerating the death toll. The warehouse was not just inadequate, it was lethal.
Despite the death, Sloth World continued importing animals and preparing for this grand opening.
Incredible.
The public had no idea. I mean, we literally lived 45 minutes probably from Sloth World's front door,
Sure.
or what used to be.
What used to be.
I had no clue that these sloths were dying. We were all getting excited about your daughter coming down and going and seeing the sloths and the whole night. We had no clue. When FWC conducted...
I don't think anybody did.
Nobody, except obviously the people that were working there that were covering this up. When FWC conducted a follow-up inspection in August of 25, they found only 6 sloths remaining. 2 of the cages were still out of compliance with state standards. The the facility received a verbal warning.
Just a verbal?
How? Internal notes from investigators expressed concern that the operator was not forthcoming about the number of deaths and the conditions inside the warehouse. You think? They noted he was not forthcoming because he shipped in 60 and we now have 6?
Yeah, where'd they go?
Where'd they
Besides
go?
dying.
But because the attraction had not yet opened to the public, regulatory oversight was limited. That's a bunch of garbage. I'm sorry. Sloth World still continued to promote itself online, selling merchandise, promising an opening date that never came.
The opening date never came, but the death toll continued to rise. By early 2026, the scale of the tragedy became undeniable. State necropsy records totaling nearly 200 pages confirmed 52 dead sloths. Now, wildlife experts reviewing the document stated that the deaths were not sudden. That's sickening.
Oh.
They were progressive and predictable, the result of chronic neglect, improper diet, environmental stress, and inadequate veterinary care. Conservative groups report that 24 sloths remain unaccounted for, meaning the true death toll may be higher. Some may have died before inspectors arrived, some may have been disposed of without documentation, some may have been transported elsewhere, sold. The numbers alone tell the story. Sloth World imported 69 sloths, 52 are confirmed dead, 24 are missing, 13 survived long enough to be rescued. This was not an accident, it was a systemic failure. Not big on the word systemic, but it was definitely a failure.
Right. Then in April of 2026, just a month ago, Sloth World surrendered the remaining animals. 13 of the sloths were transferred to Central Florida Zoo under the AZA Species Survival Plan. Veterinarians again documented dehydration, malnutrition, muscle atrophy, chronic stress, long-term organ damage. Several of the survivors, including sloths named Bandit, Habanero, and Dumpling, later died from complications directly tied to their time in the warehouse. Experts warned that even the surviving sloths may never recover.
How could they?
Many will require lifelong care, none can be released back into the wild, and their lives were permanently altered by the conditions inside this warehouse.
So, by the mid-2026, the Florida Attorney General's office confirmed an active criminal investigation into Sloth World's operations. Investigators are examining animal neglect, improper importation, of course permit violations, failure to report deaths, and falsified or incomplete documentation. State lawmakers demanded accountability. So what? I mean, really? Representative Anna Escamani, stated publicly that if these were dogs or cats, arrests would have already been made. Now we're
Not
making
true.
No, but they're making it.
Not false.
They're making it political, though.
Right.
Escamani, I mean, come on, I don't know what.
But she's making a very true statement.
Maybe. Conservative groups called for a statewide ban on wild-caught sloth imports and stricter oversight of exotic animal attractions. That I can see. That definitely is something worth looking into. But Sloth World officially closed on April 2026, but the legal follow is going. But I'm gonna go right back to that real quick. Representative Anna Escamani stated publicly that if these were dogs or cats, arrests have already been made. We don't know that for sure, so let's not make this a publicity thing about putting your name out there. And I should not have put her name out there. So I wish I wouldn't have done that. But this is in the news article that we found. But the problem I'm having is, you may be right. It's about dogs and cats, and the dogs or horses. That's on. It's in the news. But I think Sloth World is so new that they weren't sure how to approach that.
Right, and so
obviously bad. I mean,
of course. I compare it to these exotic places that import poisonous snakes, or the deadly iguana.
Lion King guy, or whatever his name is. What was it? Tiger King.
Tiger King.
Yeah.
My issue is whether it be Sloth World, and we're talking about Sloth World, so that's what brings it up. But why are we taking animals that are not in any way, shape, or form meant to be in captivity, catching them in the wild, and then putting them in a warehouse? Why wouldn't you get everything built and up and running?
Put them in a zoo. I mean, I don't even agree with all the zoos either, but
or just leave them in the wild in Peru and Guyana and let them live their life. It breaks my heart because I think about your daughter and how much she loves sloths and was so excited to come. We're not talking about a 15-year-old or a 12-year-old daughter.
No,
she's 27, 28 years old. Yeah. She's a grown woman, a mother. Congratulations to Grandmaster, by the way, everybody out there. Brand new grandbaby just arrived. But I think about your daughter and the excitement that she had, and getting the pre-purchasing merchandise to be excited for this Sloth World.
Yeah.
And you've got these, I don't know who the owner is, but
scumbag.
Exactly.
A scumbag.
You're a scumbag, and you promote it as tickets for $49.
And they've already pre-sold a whole bunch.
A bunch of tickets.
A bunch of merchandise, a bunch of shirts, and all this stuff. So okay, we're worried about cats and dogs from whoever this one lady was. Let's just arrest this guy. That's what our country does.
Right.
We arrest everybody for everything. But this guy's not been arrested yet?
Right. And no criminal charges have been pressed yet.
What's going on? Is he somebody with money?
Obviously, he was able to import over 60 sloths. That couldn't have been cheap.
Did he import them legally, though? That's the big question.
And I don't know.
But nobody's talking. I mean, we had to scrape to get this news article.
Right. This hit really hard last week on our local news. I reached out to some contacts I have that don't live in the state of Florida. They had no idea.
Nobody does. the shock of our daughter when we went up there this past week and told her that, hey, this is what happened in Sloth World. They did not have it on their news up there in South Carolina. I had no idea. So some poor saps are going to be coming down and thinking, we're going to go Sloth World, and then there is no Sloth World.
Right.
So unfortunately, this happens probably way too much, and we're not knowing it. We're not being made aware of it because it's not something that people like that one senator or whatever, whoever she is, representative, made a point to say that if it was cats, dogs, whatever. I'm not going to say horses, cows, whatever. It would be all over, and there'd be someone held accountable. I got to kind of agree with her, but I don't want to make it political.
Right.
But something needs to be done, and I want to see what the person looks like.
Yeah.
Because that needs to be blasted. Because you get a speeding ticket in this, or a DUI, didn't hurt nobody, just got a DUI. And you're all over the place.
Yep.
You're on the news. You're everywhere. This is something very egregious, very, very bad, and nothing about this person.
No.
Staff, nothing.
No. And that's another thing in the time that we've been looking at this for like last week. There's nothing mentioned of staff.
No.
Other employees, husband and wife, or any connections.
Where they got it from in Guyana.
Right.
In those places. Peru, was it?
Nothing. It's scary. So Sloth World never opened, never sold a ticket, but it left behind one of the worst exotic animal welfare disasters in Florida history. Dozens dead, dozens missing, a system that failed every step of the way. And the question that still hangs in the air: how did this happen in the middle of Orlando, and who will be held responsible? Guys, I know this was kind of a shorter podcast, but we had to jump on this story.
Trust, if we get more information, we will bring a part 2.
We'll follow up, absolutely. So that's going to do it for our time today. Always appreciate you listening to the Mind War podcast. If you're not currently following, please follow us. Give us a like, share, make a comment, send us a hello. Let us know you're out there.
Remember, always be kind. Always.
Have a great day.